Civil defense officials in Cumberland have told newsmen that murder victims show evidence of having been partially devoured.
Sometimes that is better.
Afraid, Doc?
No, afraid of what's inside.
No! He got me, Charlie! He bit me!
Deputies report that in some instances, only parts of a corpse had been removed.
This is the HorrorDrunks podcast, and this is the Anthology horror episode. Anthologies are like they're ants with the theology.
Yeah, they're ants that specialize in theology.
Yeah.
They're ants that study religion. That's movies about ants. No, that's not it.
Okay, it's not even close.
Fail. Obviously, an anthology is a collection of stories. This is one of my favorite mediums for film, not just in horror, but in general, because of my ADHD.
It is the ADHD porn of horror movies.
Yep. Keeps you interested, doesn't give you a chance to get bored. Anthologies have existed since the silent era. Paulini directed Waxwork. And
yeah, we're talking about,
yeah.
I heard he was gay, but it's not a big deal. But back then, it's a big deal.
It was a big deal then, I suppose. I think it was Paulini. It might not have been. It may have been. I always get Leany and another dude.
Me too, all the time.
Shut up.
Never heard of a guy named Leany, so.
You're mocking me. But, yeah. So, anthology is, it's a pretty old method of film storytelling. As far as horror goes, even, because Waxwork is technically kind of a horror anthology. There's a segment about Jack the Ripper.
Now, Waxwork that's not the one that I'm thinking of.
No, that's Waxworks.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the name escapes me at the moment.
We just know Bruce Campbell's in part 2 for right now.
Oh, yeah.
Both of those are supposed to come out on Blu-ray pretty soon, though.
I would assume they did already, like a double pack.
No, it's Shout or Scream Factory's putting them out pretty soon.
No, it's Vestron.
Or whatever. You're Vestron.
Yay!
But it seems like they didn't really start to pick up steam until around the 60s with Bava and Corman.
The Black Sabbath.
Yeah, and then after that, the 70s, Hammer and Amicus. I mean, especially Amicus was cranking out quite a bit of anthologies.
And wasn't there even, Hitchcock anthologies around, the 60s and 70s?
Well, he had his own TV show.
Yeah,
so... Which I guess that'd be kind of an anthology
Hitchcock Presents. Yeah, I mean...
When you binge watch, yeah.
Well, and those are referred to as anthology shows because every episode is a different story.
Yeah.
Like Twilight Zone and Tales from the Crypt. Those are all anthology shows.
Yeah, but it's not fair to call a series anthology, though.
It is if none of the stories are connected.
But if we're talking about the history of anthology movies, though.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt would be more along the lines of an anthology show for sure, because it has at least 2 episodes per episode, or 2 shows per episode.
No, it's just one.
Yeah, it's just one.
The fuck?
Yeah,
okay. I've been
watching
20,
22 minute.
Never mind.
Segments.
Forget.
They're 30 minutes because it was on HBO and there weren't commercials.
Well, you also got to think the Crypt Keepers.
You're a
segment.
Crypt Keeper.
See, you're a Crypt Keeper segment.
I want to be a Crypt Keeper.
The 80s anthologies are probably overall my favorite.
Yeah.
With Creep Show.
2 of them we watched today.
Yeah.
Body Bags, I think was
That's 90s.
Yeah.
Tales from the Dark Side of the movie is really good. And
especially the last segment.
Yeah. The last segment of that is...
Gargoyle.
Did you know that that's a remake?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, it's a remake of a segment from a Japanese horror anthology from the 60s called Kuroneko, or Kwaidan. Yeah, Kwaidan. It's from Kwaidan.
Oh, yeah.
Not Kuroneko, Kwaidan. Yeah, the Japanese, they made quite, they had their entries into the horror anthologies pretty early on, too, along with the Italians. So, horror anthology...
When you said that, I started thinking Miike with Masters of Horror, so that's kind of...
Oh, Masters of Horror is an anthology show, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
As far as horror anthology shows go, it's probably the best in recent years.
I didn't know if you'd like that. I don't think we ever talked about that.
I like a lot of the first season. the second season mostly left me cold. But so yeah, anthologies, they've been around since the silent era, more or less. They didn't really pick up steam until the 60s, and they kind of just, horror films in general got meaner and more vicious as they went along. And nowadays it's just, a lot of it's just glorified torture porn and stuff like ABCs of Death and
we got the
VHS
VHS series. And the newest one, Tales of Halloween.
Yeah, that was fine. I thought Christmas Horror Story was way better.
Yeah, Christmas Horror Story was great.
I was so fucked up when we were watching that, but that I didn't even realize it was an anthology until like halfway through. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
What about anthology porn?
That's probably, any porn's an anthology, I think, unless it has a coherent storyline.
It's a segment thing. There's like 5 segments in a porn DVD.
And I guess you could say even Randy kind of created his own anthology with his supercut.
Yeah, that's my own little porn.
Yeah, but only you watched that movie though.
That's all you needed.
As far as I know, I never dubbed any.
You never
put
it on IMDb.
No, this was well before,
directed and edited by.
Well before the internet.
All right, plugs.
All right, you can check us out on Instagram.
I'm on Instagram now.
You gotta plug your personal Instagram.
Lonesome Undertaker.
Oh wow.
And
it sounds like a Juggalo wrestling name.
Don't say that. Oh,
the Undertaker.
And you can also follow me at the Black Glove
They're gonna see
Killer.
your beard and they're gonna think you're fucking like wrestling.
I do like 80s and 90s wrestling.
You don't talk about it to the extent of having to leave a conversation because someone's talking about wrestling.
If someone wanted to talk to me about 80s and 90s wrestling, we could have a big, long conversation about it.
But you based your entire group of friends off that, though. That's a juggalo.
Alright, anyways, you can follow Randy at the Lonesome Undertaker.
That's the best tangent yet.
You can follow me at the Black Glove Killer. You can follow us at the HorrorDrunks podcast. Do you said you really haven't been using it?
No, but you can hit me up on my cell phone or my gmail.com. KenTradeGmail.com. Hit me up.
Alright, then follow us on Facebook at the HorrorDrunks podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at the HorrorDrunks, and you can also reach us through email by the HorrorDrunksPodcast@gmail.com.
Did we sell our bills?
That was our plugs.
Okay. What have you been watching, Scott?
I have been watching quite a bit. I'll say starting with the whole 31 Days of Horror or 31 Days of Halloween movie marathon. Right off the bat, one of the first I started was Ty West's The House of the Devil.
That's good.
Good, very
That
good.
movie's awesome. Love the slow burn 80s feel to it. It's very divisive, actually. I've seen so many people
more
hate
of a
it.
70s vibe from it.
Yeah, it was definitely 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, I was like, because it felt early.
She had a
80s.
Walkman.
I suppose, yeah, she did.
The next I ended up watching Chopping Mall, which is just fucking fantastic.
Chopping Mall rules.
And I so
A lot
want
of
to get
people
that.
in that one, too.
Yeah.
People you'll recognize from other things.
With the guy from Friday the 13th Part 2, I always forget his name.
That guy and Barbara Crampton.
Yep.
And
The neighbor from Gremlins, I always forget his name too.
I don't know, you're a gremlin. Moving on.
Yeah.
Then, spoiler alert for next episode, Ernest Scared Stupid.
Aha!
See, he's got a head start. He's going to watch it. He's going to be very in-depth with this.
I was going to watch that movie anyway, but now I'll watch it.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Ernest Scared Stupid?
No, just
piece
goes
of
to,
shit.
I think it was goes to jail and goes to camp, and that's it. And then the Africa one.
I really genuinely love Ernest P. Worrell and like everything that character was involved in. I own all of it. I love it.
Yeah,
I was
Ernest is fantastic.
I was reluctant to get into it because it gave me the Mr. Rogers dark side kind of vibe in real life. He's probably kind of creepy. So I was just like, I don't know. I already did the Pee Wee thing. I made it through that. And
Ernest definitely kind of falls in line with that childhood.
Did he ever
adult actor.
Did he have like a legal issues or anything creepy? about
No,
him? Nothing?
he was a giant cokehead, and that's probably why
That's
he died
cool,
young. But
I mean, it's
And
not
he smoked
cool.
a ton of cigarettes too.
But compared to like finding out that he touched a girl,
no, he was never.
cokehead, I'll take.
No. Fucking Ernest, like, there was a TV show for a little while. Hey, Ernest, me, Ernest.
Oh yeah.
Tons of movies.
Commercials.
Yeah, the commercials for, like, goddamn Sprite and Mellow Yellow.
Yeah, Ernest Scared Stupid, fucking fantastic. And a lot creepier than I remember it being compared
With
to
the
what I
kid.
expected it. Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to be repeating our Ernest talk because we have to do his movie next week. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I might have to edit some of that.
then I ended up watching Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow.
It's a good one.
I hadn't watched that in like over a decade, so I finally
Probably his
decided to
last
give it a rewatch.
really decent, good film. You don't like it?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Fuck's your problem, boy?
It's a good Halloween movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then I ended up watching Reanimator. I mean, what else could be said about that movie?
Yeah.
It's just fucking fantastic.
That's a 10.
It's
Yeah.
It's perfect for what it tries to do.
Reanimator's a 10.
Yeah, I'd definitely go right about there with you.
I
Then
have to agree. Well,
the-
From Beyond then too. is a
From
10.
Beyond's a 10.5. From Beyond's a 11. The fuck was that? Oh,
film.
space phone.
Then I watched The Evil Dead. I mean, same thing. Just it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
Especially for a shoestring budget like they had.
one of the best independent films ever made.
And then I ended up watching. Finally got around to watching Horror Express.
Ah, that's a good one. I
Fuck.
forget that you weren't on that episode. Like when you first posted that, I was like, "But you just, what do you mean this is the first time you watched it? We just, oh,
Yeah, that was like a couple episodes before I joined.
right." Yeah, it's a good one. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And
One of my favorite Spanish horror films.
I didn't. That threw me off when I put the Blu-ray in because like all the text was coming up in Spanish. I'm going, did I get a wrong Blu-ray or something? Because I did not realize it was a Spanish-made film. Yeah, that was really good. And, I'll give my rating since I wasn't on the podcast, but I'd give it an 8.0.
I think I gave it a 9 or
I don't
something
remember
like
what
that.
the Christ I gave it.
Then I also watched The Witch. I fucking love that movie.
I need to rewatch that one.
It is definitely my favorite movie of 2016.
I seen you get some backlash on that.
Yeah, there are some people that movie is one of those that people just don't like or you absolutely love it.
Yeah,
They say
it's-
they say that thing. I get it, but it's
I don't like it.
yeah.
I feel like that's like if you,
if you got it, then you would like it.
yeah. Well,
because
then
it's really slow and they're like nothing happens. It's like that's
this is
the
one of those
point.
movies that's kind of like a good litmus test for taste. Like if someone's like, I don't like The Witch,
Then you know they
you
don't
know
like
their-
a lot of the movies that you
their
like.
taste probably isn't terribly great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I absolutely just
Almost
love
not like
the
Papa's
setting.
Jackass or anything, but
Well, we were talking about
I do
reviewing
a lot.
that movie, and the only reason why I don't think we should, other than being too mainstream, is there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean,
no, I mean it's a lot of when I talk about the movie, I compare it to the work of Michael Hanke quite a bit, and that it's just like deliberately uncomfortably slow a lot
thank
of the time.
God. I was waiting for Scott to jump in with Mr. Hanky, but I did it. I fucked it up.
You screwed it up,
Yeah.
Ken.
I don't even know if that's how you pronounce his last name. Maybe it's like Henneke or something. Whatever.
That sounds familiar.
Funny games
It's
guy.
fucking that or Sarandon.
Yeah, I just. But yeah, then the last movie I watched was The Evil Dead 2. Just watched that this morning, and yeah, that one's probably my favorite of the Evil Dead franchise.
Not mine.
No, I like the first one better.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
more,
the first one is like
It's a lot
it's
more
more
visceral,
savage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like the kind of stupid humor that goes along with it.
Without the humor in Evil Dead 2, we wouldn't have Army of Darkness, so I think
Yeah,
that's
that is
why I
true.
would deduct Evil Dead 2.
I still love Evil Dead 2 quite a bit. I mean, it's like close on the heels of the first one, but the first one wins based on savagery and mean-spiritedness.
What have you been watching, Randy?
Oh, I watched Hellraiser.
Fantastic.
Yep, Bob Keane's effects in that one are...
Amazing.
Yeah, there aren't very many other films that rival the effects in that one.
That was the
other
very
than,
first
The
movie.
Thing and
That was the very first horror film I ever seen that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I actually snuck downstairs when my parents were watching it, and I looked around the corner and seen the scene where he's building himself back up in the attic, and he's like slowly
Right.
coming back together.
Wait,
seen
what
that scene,
are you guys talking about? I didn't-
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I seen that scene, ran upstairs, and had nightmares for like a week.
I watched Phantasm 4 because I had watched 1 and 2 in the theater and then watched the third one after that, so I figured I'd watch the fourth one. Fourth one, good. Not nearly as bad as most people make it out to be.
Definitely need to watch it.
Lots of really cool shit. And then obviously I watched Ravager and Pumpkinhead. I watched that with Bill. Pumpkinhead's amazing, incredible.
Awesome creature design.
One of the best like demon revenge movies ever. Evil Speak. Watch that one.
Ooh, Clint Howard.
I don't think I've
like
ever seen that one.
I like that one.
Evil Speak's great. Tons of great gore and sacrilege and blasphemy.